In this tutorial, I'd like to cover a little bit about a different environment in Solid Edge. It's called the Explode Render Animate environment, and see what that's about. So here I had assembled the whole parts of this block problem, and let's see what this thing's about. So here on the top you have different tabs. You want to go to the Tools tab, and under there's the ERA for short, Explode Render Animate environment, and so you want to click on that. Now there's several different things you can do here. There's an animation editor. This would be for when you're animating explosions. So if this part was shown in an explosion, it would slowly move out when you tell it to. That's a little more advanced. Sometimes you might not always use that. And there's an explode feature, and there's also a render feature. So first we're gonna try this explode. So the easiest method is to auto explode your assembly. It'll just pick which directions it wants to explode the parts. So let's click on that, and we want the top level assembly. Click the arrow and explode. So here it gave you a basic explosion of the parts, and let's rotate this a little bit to see what they done, what it's done. So it might not be the convenient picture to use, or the picture you wanted. So I want to show you how to better explode parts if you have to. So fit to screen. Let's click the select feature. Actually, let's close the ERA. Every time you close the ERA, you lose your explosion. So let's re-enter this. Now, say if you want a specific place for each part, and you can do that. Let's select this part. Say we wanted a certain distance above the whole thing, and maybe too we don't want all the parts exploded. So select that and click explode. This manually explodes each part. So click that, and we have selected the part. So it says we selected the part. Click enter. Now it says to select the base part to explode from. So we want to go up in the negative y direction. So select that part. And it says select the face to explode from, and we want this face. Now we have an option to choose a direction. We want this direction, and we can enter in a distance, say 100 millimeters. And now it exploded in that direction. And if we click select, we can also edit that dimension, and you can drag components and reposition them. So if I want to drag this, I can drag it in. Maybe I want to drag it that way a little bit. And so that's just an easy way to edit that. So you could manually explode every part, and maybe you just want to explode certain parts just to see specific features that wouldn't be visible without exploding them. And lastly, I mentioned about the rendering area. So this is to give you a rendered view of the assembly. It's just a higher quality picture of what you have assembled. And remember, in one of the beginning videos I mentioned that under your application button that there was properties that you could change for the rendering faces and rendering materials. So based on those properties you chose for the part, it would reflect that in this rendering. So let's click scene. You can also render just a particular area, but I want to render the whole scene. So I'll click render. So it had a default, it looks like some kind of glossy gray rendering face, and it just adds like sunlight, makes it more realistic. And over here on the left you can add different lighting and different things of that nature. But if you'd want to edit an individual part's rendering, you would have to go back to that part and go under the properties, which isn't shown here, and change the rendering faces and the part composition.